Welcome to the main event. Welcome to yet another platinum roast of this bitch ass nigga BGS. He's still licking his wounds. This nigga is still talking about this debate. This shit was months ago, and he can't get over it. It's crazy. I never seen anything like it. But we're gonna roast this nigga again. Hope y'all enjoy it. Another Friday afternoon platinum roast. Saul, what up, man? Tech boy, what up? What up? Yeah, I had to ask in the thumbnail, like, nigga, whose side are you on? Whose side are you on? Shit. Ask a lot of motherfuckers need to get asked that. Whose side are you on? Shit. Mike Andrews, what up? Whose fucking side are you on? I guess since so many people since then have talked about the debate, and since BGS has this megalomaniacal need to be seen as the only nigga, some Highlander shit, it could be only one. That's who he is. Science got his niggas is the Sultan of the incels, bro. That's who follow him as incels. I don't think that could be debated. I don't think that look at all of his sycophants. Look at all of his sycophants. And why is he on the side? Think about that. Think about that. Even in the midst of more people delineating, more people acknowledging their foundational Black American heritage, you still have this nigga actively rooting for them to keep other people here who take away the resources and opportunities that you're supposed to have as American citizens. And that a lot of racists at these companies are all too happy to hire these niggas just to disenfranchise you, but still say that they hired a Black person. So for the last of the niggas that's still following BGS, how do y'all not see that he cares about ideology more than he cares about you? He cares about ideology more than he cares about you. He cares about the appearance or the feeling thereof of being right more than he cares about you. Jake the Snake, what up? Trevor, what up? Stefan, what up? That's what he cares about. He cares about all of that more than he cares about you. Doesn't care about black men. He just cares about being right. BGS cares more about pontificating to black men than he actually cares about black men. Don't lose sight of that. I don't know if y'all have noticed that over the length of his career, but yes, he cares more about pontificating to black men than he does black men. Shells, what up, man? That's what he cares about. That's what his priority is. That's where his energies go. Right? Hope y'all have noticed that. Hope y'all noticed that shit. Right, I'm gonna let a few people get in here, man. Give him hell. What up, man? Some of y'all that's in here now might be subscribed to BGS, right? And I don't know how you don't see that. Yep, yep. But he's the same one who will try to convince you, oh, I'm not a Democrat, I'm agnostic. Science guy writes, BGS will go against anything Republicans do, even if it's good. But this is the guy that wants to try to convince you that I'm agnostic. Yeah, okay, nigga. Jermaine Taylor, what up? or he tries to enlist you to barbershop neutrality. Oh, they just two wings of the same bird. Remember, when before you repeat that, always remember that term was first coined by former Alabama Governor George Wallace, who was, by the way, a Democrat and a mouth frothing racist. That's who that term was first coined by. That's why I cringe whenever I hear black people using that term. So, like, if you only knew where that shit came from, you wouldn't be repeating it. If you only knew. If you know. All right. We got enough people, man. Now, I want y'all to not lose sight of something. I want y'all to not lose sight of this, right? What the most important thing is, right? Give him hell rights. And if you don't agree with him, he'll insult you, but only because you're not in his presence to do something about it. Yeah, yeah. Or he'll say, "Go fuck you in your ass." You know how BGS is. And all of this fuss and hullabaloo about Iran and the Iran war, right? It's the one thing that is the most important thing. And I have been maintaining this. I have been saying this throughout this whole affair, right? I have told y'all that I don't care what stance you got about war. I don't care what stance you got about Iran. I don't care what stance you got about religion, right? That there's no way in your right mind that you can hate Israel more than you like to breathe. Because if there's a nuclear exchange one day, and it will be if Iran is allowed to enrich uranium to weapons grade, you have to decide, do you care more about the goal of being isolationist? And there's nothing wrong with that. But I would say that takes a backseat to environmental protection when it comes to war, right? You can say that, hey, we're carrying water for Israel. Fine. Do you hate Israel more than you like the idea of going outside without a gas mask, holding a Geiger counter? Ask yourself that. That is the most important thing. And I stressed that to him, and he tried to talk his way around it in that debate. That is the most important thing. Now, many years ago, I told y'all, and I've been telling people this for years now, Iran is trying to make a nuclear weapon. And everybody laughed at me. Everybody called me silly. Everybody called me a crazy conspiracy theorist, right? That's the most important thing. That's the that's the most important thing. out of anything, that's the most important thing. More than any political goal that you can possibly think of. Hey man, hell, Ruslan, I got I got thrown out of school for a couple of days for stating that I thought that Israel had a nuclear bomb. And I asked my teacher, I said, well, if about half of the people, if about half of the people that worked in the Manhattan Project that were theoretical physicists were Jews, then how would you think that Israel doesn't have a nuclear weapon? And he kicked me out the class for saying that. That's not anti-Semitic. That's common fucking sense. It's common sense. Jay Daniels writes, do you believe sovereign nations should have the ability to determine if they possess nuclear weapons? See, that's an academic debate I'm trying not to have. I don't give a fuck about that. I just don't want Iran to have one. I hope to answer your question. I don't care about that. I don't care about these sterile academic debates about sovereignty and all of that. In this one case, I'll be a fucking hypocrite. Gladly. Gladly. In this case, yeah, I'll be a hypocrite. Do I want a country that lists the Prophet Muhammad as they head of state to have a nuclear weapon? No. Nope. Nope. In this one case, I'll be a hypocrite. We can't be perfect, can we? And then you got to consider this the same thing I was trying to tell BGS. This is not a normal country that you're dealing with. Sovereign nation as they may be, but this is not a normal country. This is a country that's in the grip of a theocratic death cult. It's a difference. No, I understand, Jay Daniels. He writes, I only ask this because you have places like Pakistan, which is a Muslim nation that has nuclear weapons. And exactly, Pakistan is a Muslim nation that has nuclear weapons and is primarily controlled by military oligarchs. They not extreme Islamists. They not extreme Islamists. Machismo, what up? Hey, wait, hold on. That's a great question. It's a great question. Give him hell rights, Jay Daniels. Ask yourself, why didn't Pakistan arm other Muslim nations? You see? see what I mean? And I'm not all that comfortable with Pakistan having them, but with the military having a stronghold on their country, I mean, obviously they're in pretty good hands. Sure, distant roads. Yeah. Distant roads writes, wouldn't biological and chemical weapons be more effective and dangerous than a nuclear one? There are God knows how many agencies set up to watch nuclear material. Yeah, but the yield of those, the destructive force of those type of weapons is largely unknown. And not only is it largely unknown, it has the ability to like have unintended consequences. Whereas there is an entire range of nuclear weapons going from tactical nuke all the way up to ICBM. And then another thing to consider is that not all of these weapons are thermonuclear anymore. Some of them are neutron bombs, where it's just the initial radiation that kills. But the half-life is very short, and you don't leave behind a radioactive wasteland. So, but that's the most important thing here. That's the most important thing here. Do you like breathing relatively clean air? Do you like that less than sticking it to Israel? That's the most important thing. All right. Let's look at a couple of clips. Maybe I can speed this up. Can I speed this up? Yeah. Speed this motherfucker up. All right, fair use. Fair use. Now remember, everybody was telling me when I was trying to tell y'all that Iran had a nuclear weapon, everybody was telling me that I was crazy. Everybody was laughing. Everybody, Tito crazy. Ain't got no damn nuclear weapon. Crazy.
In the new Memorandum of Understanding, Iran commits to not producing or developing a nuclear weapon, but Iran's president says the country's not going to give up the ability to enrich uranium entirely. So let's look at the uranium enrichment process, how it can be used for nuclear power, and when it crosses the line from civilian uses into weapons grade. In this 60-day negotiating period, arguably, one of the biggest issues is the future of Iran's nuclear program and the ability to enrich uranium.
It's a question of principle for Iran. They have asserted a so-called right to enrich under the Non-Proliferation Treaty. It's a fallacy. The Non-Proliferation Treaty is silent on the matter. It does not say that there's a right to enrich. It does not say that there is a prohibition on enrichment.
Uranium is a heavy metal found naturally in the earth. To be used for energy or weapons, it needs to be modified to increase the concentration of a U-235 isotope. Natural uranium has a U-235 content of just 0.7%. To be useful in nuclear power plants, it's typically enriched to 3 to 5%. Tehran's Nuclear Research Center requires uranium enriched to about 20%, and weapons-grade uranium is typically at 90%, but it can have other purposes too, like powering nuclear submarines. A potential deal with Iran could impose limits on enrichment levels, but one of the biggest issues is dealing with the highly enriched uranium Iran already has.
Even if Iran were to not have any new enrichment capacity, that stockpile needs to be dealt with because you can still build nuclear weapons straight away without further enrichment from it.
Experts believe conditions are right for a new nuclear deal to be possible, in part because Iran has a bigger point of leverage.
Iran has a much better tool to force potential opponents to do what it wants by closing a string of Hormuz. It doesn't need nuclear weapons to do that.
The White House says Iran has agreed to let international nuclear inspectors back into the country for the first time in years, and any final deal between the U.S. and Iran dealing with Iran's nuclear program is likely to include continued inspections for years to come. Stephanie Liebergan.
You heard that? Iran themselves just told you that we maintain the right. We have the right to enrich uranium. Right? They told you that. No, we have the right to enrich uranium. Right? Now, that doesn't sound like not having nuclear weapons to me. I'm just saying.
I told everybody Hillary Clinton would lose because of what she did in Benghazi, and the DOD would not elect her. Okay, a lot of Democrats got upset with me. Okay, a lot of them. A lot of Democrats told me I was a conservative. I love Republicans, and yada yada yada. I was not a liberal. I was a fascist. All kind of stuff. Okay, and then when I knew that Donald Trump would lose because of COVID, Okay, what is the dumbass listening to want to reverse what Obama did, which is getting rid of the gain of function. Okay, and he reversed it, and guess what? You got COVID. Okay, everybody knows it. Okay, and I knew that he would lose. Okay, and when he did, a lot of the other people got upset with me. And then on the last,
BGS must have knew where all of the bags of fake ballots was. If you say he knew that.
last term, when I told you that Joe Biden couldn't run, is because he was senile, and basically that Kamala Harris was not a good candidate, and she would be terrible and she would lose. Now I got other people on the Democratic side that blew no matter who folks going at me. So to me, that seems to be a good track record for being agnostic. I don't know where people get the fact that the thing that I am a Democrat. Okay, you know, Trump had the easiest term that he could have imagined. All he had to do was not screw it up. Okay, and he went against everybody, including his own people, because he just had one of his staffers resign in protest of Trump. So it's not, and he was a MAGA guy. A complete MAGA guys. You have a lot of MAGA people that do not like this war because Trump ran on the thing that he was not going to do this kind of crap, and he did. So saying that that I am a Democratic shill and I'm not agnostic and I go against Democrats because trust and believe there's a whole lot of Democrats, okay, including Jasmine Crockett would tell you that I'm nowhere near a Democrat. Ask Stacey Abrams, okay, when we actually talked about what is it called, the Ice Cube effect. Shout out to Dr. Neal, okay, and blackmail political independence, which is what I vote for. Okay, black men should go by policy and not Democratic or Republican. I could care less because they're two wings of the same freaking bird. And that's the way I was trained. I was trained that way 30 years ago, and it's been that way. I stopped being part of the Democratic Party in '92 with Bill Clinton. The only Democrat I voted for since then was Obama because he was freaking black and I wanted a black president. That was it. But I knew who Obama was. So I don't know where y'all get this from. Because if you follow me and you've been following me for 12 years and my stuff is still up there, people will tell you, including the Democratic people that left, because I had a whole bunch of Democrats, okay? Democratic people, Democratic shills that thought they were right when it came to that last election, okay, that we all knew that Kamala Harris would lose, okay? I don't even believe they were fussing until people.
I just wanted to let y'all listen to how BGS will go on and on and on and on with this. Maybe it's not so whimsical thought that he's some type of Democratic insider. I at this point, I really think he might not be bullshitting, right?
Start writing books, and everything that I said previous to that, 2 years previous to that, came about. If they could not put Trump in jail or eliminate him, which they did try, okay, he would win because because Joe Biden couldn't run and Kamala Harris was not qualified.
That's a great question, R2K. That's a great question. How was this an easy term in either way? He's talking about Trump's first term. How in the fuck is this an easy term when, number one, you're not an experienced politician, number two, you got all type of fucking snakes that's supposed to be on your side and you got to deal with all this rhino pussy ass bullshit, and then number three, when they become paranoid because your agenda is working, then that's when they unleash a fucking plague basically to hamstring your administration. So how in the fuck was his first term easy, and how was this term easy? But this is the nigga that's divorced from reality that people call the master teacher.
I don't know where y'all get this from. And as far as this Iran strike, guess what? Half his military people, okay, you got 4 generals resign. You got Tulsi Gabbard, and he has his own vice president trying to distance himself from this, okay? Because if you don't settle this in a proper manner, guess what? The Republicans will lose. We'll lose. Okay, so this clear path you had for the next 8 years, including J.D. Vance in the next election, because he's the one I picked to actually win the 2028 election, barring this kind of crap. Okay, everybody told him this was a mistake, and guess what he did? He ignored it down to the tittle. He overrode his own generals, his own public staff. Okay,
I'm gonna ask you again. I don't give a fuck what political party you in. I don't care what religion you follow. I don't care how much you did like or dislike Israel. If you're a Zionist, if you're not a Zionist, the main question becomes, what is your priority? Is your priority proving some ideological point? Is your priority trying to have the appearance of being kumbaya with people of other faiths? Is your priority breathing air without radioactive dust in it? What's your fucking priority? What's your priority? Furthermore, let me give y'all a fun fact. Let me tell y'all how much we've already fucking ruined the world with atomic weapons. I want y'all to look up a term, low background steel. Low background steel. Low background steel. You know what that means? We've conducted so many above ground nuclear tests and so many below the ground nuclear tests that the radiation has actually got into the iron ore of the earth. Remember, once you get below the topsoil, the main thing that the earth is made out of is iron. Okay? So most steel, even the legs of this fucking desk, the trim around this window has background radiation present in it. Oh, well, you know what I'm talking about. You Russians like that nuclear shit. You know what I'm talking about, Ruslan. Low background steel. And so there are certain needs for steel for uses where a low background radiation is required, like medical instruments, for instance. And they actually have to go to the bottom of the fucking ocean and salvage the steel from World War II ships and recycle that to make low background steel. That's the extent to which we've already ruined the fucking earth with nuclear weapons. Yeah, tell them to look. You're right about that, Ruslan. You're right about that. Look up thyroid cancer rate map around nuclear testing sites. And people, it's all of these issues that they got in front of anti-proliferation. All of these fucking issues are somehow more important than not breathing air with radioactive dust in it. By I-131, I think you mean iodine isotope 131, right? Miroslav writes, for years, people were exposed to I-131. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, look up that term, though, low background steel. Tell me what you find.
And Pete Hegseth, who actually went against the first strike that they did, okay, walked people out, actually agreed with this one. So I don't know what Pete Hegseth is on. I'm sure he's a good soldier. He's following the demands of his president, his commander in chief, but all his other military staff, a lot of them resigned because they told him this was a mistake. Tulsi Gabbard is in front of council trying to backslide away from this. So I don't know what you guys are reading. All right, I'm done.
Rebut. Do you have a rebuttal, Tito? You gotta mute yourself.
Yeah, I always have a rebuttal. Um, Predicting the outcome of an election doesn't mean that you really come down on one side or the other. You just prognosticating who you think is going to win. But there have been many other statements that you've made in the past, such as go get the jab. Biden's doing a great job. You know, that's one thing. But your repeated use of the word crap to describe the strikes against Iran. Um, I don't understand. So how is it that if you're abreast of politics and foreign affairs, how did you not see how does anybody not see the necessity for this over the horizon? How does anybody that lives in a Western country think that it's perfectly fine to potentially have a nuclear exchange in the Middle East that will one day endanger the whole environment of the planet, people's respiratory health? How do people not see that this at some point was going to be absolutely necessary? And again, I have to reiterate, this is something that the Carter administration should have taken care of. When the 3,000 militants and students who were communist and radical Islamists took over Iran back in 1979, our troop strength was actually very high, much more high than it is now. With huge garrisons in North Korea and in Europe and Germany, because it was during the Cold War, right? The Carter administration could have went in there and eliminated these people, restored Shah Reza Pahlavi back to power, and then it would have been business as usual. And not to say that the Shah was a saint, but the Shah was firmly anti-communist, and they had an opportunity to prevent what we're seeing now, right? So how does anybody look at this and not understand that it's a pretty good certainty that Iran already has nuclear weapons? They probably just don't have a stockpile, and they don't have a. Well, let me get this comment right here. R2K writes, and I'm glad we got a Russian in here. R2K writes, I guess this answers why they don't want to switch to nuclear energy, because things are already irradiated. No, the radiation that will come from a nuclear power plant is very much lower than the weapons grade radiation that's used in above ground and below ground nuclear tests, first off, right? And it's got a much shorter half-life. Actually, and Ruslan can probably testify to this, even in the Soviet Union, when they would build like these secret cities for to have a rural out of the way test range in the middle of Siberia, where they wouldn't have like power infrastructure set up, they would actually set up very small nuclear reactors that could power that city for years indefinitely, right? So there are many ways, and we could do that same thing. Think about it. Think about how small the reactors are that they have inside of nuclear aircraft carriers and submarines. You don't hear about them having meltdowns and shit all the time. Matter of fact, I don't think there's ever been a nuclear accident as long as the United States Navy has been using nuclear power. So no, the reason that they don't do it is because it would be too cheap. That's why. When you hear those people protesting, not in my backyard, please believe that they being bankrolled by those utility companies. It would be too cheap. That's why. Reliable means to deliver them, right? When you see the knee-jerk reaction from Israel and the United States, that's the only thing that you can deduce, is that Iran already has a deliverable nuclear weapon. So how is it that you think the point of all this to ask you, BGS, is how do you think that kicking the can for another administration, for another few election cycles, why this problem was allowed to fester was a viable option? I yield my time.
Okay, Tito, I'm sorry, BGS, are you up for rebuttal?
Okay, the thing is, I thought this was a debate and not a question and answer session. Okay, okay. The thing is, which answer does he want me to answer first? Okay, because he laid out about 10 different questions. Which answer does he want me to answer first?
And
Because
it's your
no, in my discourse, I cited things that you
give
said,
me
and I
give me
ended off with one
which
question, and I
one?
just asked the question. Can you not
Which
hear?
which one? Which one?
I'll repeat it
Reiterate
again.
it, please. Yes.
How did you think? How did you think that it was a viable? How did that it's a viable option to kick the Iran can down the road for a few more years?
Okay, that's real simple. Okay, the same way that Israel called off the 12-day war because they're getting their ass whipped. Okay, that's how. That's how. Okay, uh, the same way that because Trump thought it was the decapitation strike. I don't know how BB talked him into this bullshit. Okay, excuse me for the language. I don't know how BB talked him into this. Okay, just because the chick in Venezuela betrayed her president.
Netanyahu didn't have to persuade him to shit. Netanyahu didn't have to persuade him to shit. He didn't have to persuade him to nothing. Right? All it took is what I told y'all. All it took is what I told y'all. Even in the live on Sunday night that led up to this debate, I was trying to tell y'all inside of that live, hey, Iran either has or is very close to producing a nuclear weapon. And some of the people in the chat, oh, Tito's crazy. Oh, now the Iranians themselves are telling you, nigga, we gonna be enriching uranium. They telling you. They telling you what I've been trying to tell y'all since fucking 2016. So he talking about, oh, BB talked him into this. I don't think it took that much persuading. After he looked at them photos and shit that the Israelis had, and after he had the Air Force put their satellites over that shit, and confirm it with spectrometer analysis, I don't think it took that much persuading. I really don't think it took that much persuading. Miroslav writes, Chernobyl was worse than a nuclear weapon. Half of the 1,890-ton core burned into the environment. Only 9 to 11 pounds is used in nuclear weapons. Thank you. Now, Ruslan, I'm about to be 50 years old in a couple of weeks. And even though the media tried to keep it under wraps somewhat, I began to notice that after Chernobyl, you know, because I'm from the Midwest, and in the geographical region I live in, the jet stream blows from west to east across the United States, but it's like a vortex, a swirling pattern over the Midwest where I live. That's why we have such vicious winter storms. And I noticed that most people from my generation, I start having breathing problems. I still have bronchitis to this day. That a lot of people from Generation X that live in the Midwest have breathing problems, but they try to give you the excuse, oh, that's because y'all got roaches and roach droppings. Y'all use roach spray. That inner city ghetto nigga shit. We never had roaches in our house. We never had that shit. But I noticed that. So you don't have to nobody has to convince me how bad this shit is because I lived it. But apparently, some people need convincing. Give them hell rights. Iran claims that we black Americans have nothing to fear from them, but if they ever bomb America, nuclear or not, black Americans will be affected the same as whites. Yeah. So I don't know what the hell they mean by that. But you know, niggas are gullible, and they know the Vietnamese did the same thing. Oh, GI, go home. They know that they know. All they gotta do is make a race-based appeal. They know the game. That's why Ahmadinejad called Obama Uncle Tom.
Okay. And formed a soft coup with the help of the United States and Venezuela, doesn't mean that it could go to Iran and do the exact same thing. You had just 8 months early got your ass whipped, okay? And you know that they know that you're coming back, and you know that Russia and China are going to start sending parts and missiles to these people. They're not going to.
That sure aged well, didn't it? Russia and China didn't send a motherfucking thing. Russia and China didn't send a motherfucking thing. They don't want no parts of this shit. This is y'all master teacher, though.
Run out. You're going to run out of weapons, and you're already out of basic interceptors. Okay, they already took out your antenna arrays. Okay,
I'm gonna repeat what I said before. Run out of weapons, you must be out of your fucking mind. You must be out of your fucking mind. You talking about running out of weapons, and we still using 500-pound bombs and 50 caliber shells that was made for World War II. This just did none of this age well, BGS. Yep. Machismo writes, that's why I kept playing the debate. It did not age well. Yeah, that's because the more time wears on, the crazier you look, BGS, with all of this shit that you're saying. You look crazy.
Which Iran didn't do the first time because they didn't want, because number one, China had their back. Say, hey, don't hit a carrier, don't hit the United States bases because we don't want to aggravate these people. Okay, but you thought you're going to come there, sit there for 2 months, and then start a war, and didn't think you're going to get this reaction. Okay, you got 150 missiles just hit Israel today because they're out of air defenses. Okay. What did you actually think? And then you get the cut off the Strait of Hormuz, where you think they're just going to give up in 2 weeks? It was not a good idea. The military people told him it wasn't a good idea. Okay, everybody else, why you think Europe is backsliding? Okay, they ain't start this. Everybody know this was a dumbass idea to start this freaking war, unless you can get China and Russia to actually accede that they're gonna throw Iran under the bus, which they are not. Okay, Trump already tried that. Like,
Yep. He said we're gonna run out of weapons. Y'all ever heard of the Rock Island Arsenal in Illinois? That's all these motherfuckers do all day for years is make motherfucking bullets and explosives all fucking day. Niggas putting in whole shifts making big ass tank shells for decades in a row all day. Matter of fact, for centuries in a fucking row. I think the fucking Rock Island Arsenal been there ever since Illinois was a fucking state. All day, every day, for centuries in a row. Bombs, guns, missiles, tank shells, explosives. Big ass motherfucking loafs of C4. What the fuck is this nigga talking about? You ever seen some of them houses of them people that work there? Niggas living in mansions. They literally feeding families with this shit. You dumb nigga. And that's not the only fucking one in this state alone. You got the DuPont Arsenal in Joliet. That's one reason why we got all this motherfucking lead poisoning in the soil in this goddamn state is from making weapons all the time, nigga. You dumb motherfucker.
2 days after the war, he sent Kershner to Russia to actually intermediate, to actually ask for Putin's help. Okay, you just had the whole GCC up there asking for Putin's help. Okay, Trump just talked to Xi, asking for Xi's help to open up the strait and put a collar on Iran. Okay, everybody knew this was a mistake. Everybody knew this was a mistake. If you win this war, basically it's going to be a Vietnam. Your economy is going to go to crap because you could not afford it. You don't have the weapons. You don't.
Oh, here we go. Here we go with the Vietnam shit. Here we go with the Vietnam shit. Silly. Vietnam. No, nigga, this is not like Vietnam. This is nothing like Vietnam. The people in Vietnam had basically a cohesive racial identity that was only split along ideological lines. They all fought against the Japanese in World War II. Right? Meanwhile, it's a bunch of different ethnicities and tribes and all of that shit in Iran. There's no North Iran and South Iran. We're not trying to prop up a puppet republic in Iran. This is nothing like Vietnam. That's so fucking intellectually lazy. It's nothing like Vietnam. There's no distinct side that we've sent military advisors to. There's no enemy insurgency that we're trying to mitigate. So stop with that intellectually lazy shit. It's not the same. It's nowhere near the same.
Have the manufacturing base. The only way you can actually win this is if China and Russia stop helping, which they're not. They've already refused. Anyhow.
Now wait a minute. Now that's a wrinkle that I didn't even catch during the debate or in my subsequent playing of these this dumbass discussion. Now he just said without Russia and China helping you. Well, first he just said Russia and China was supposed to be helping the Iranians. So who is Russia and China supposed to help? Us or the Iranians? Now you saying that we can't win unless the Russian or the Chinese help us. I mean, you gotta pick a side, BGS. Pick a side.
I'll land my plane.
Thank you, sir. Cheetah, you want to rebuttal or you want to move to the next topic?
No, I would love to rebut this one.
No, go
It's
ahead. Go ahead.
always
No, it's all you. Go ahead.
it's always entertaining how every time there's a military conflict in which there has to be an expeditionary war, that people will always make comparisons to Vietnam. Iran is in no way like Vietnam. In Vietnam, you had basically in ethnic cohesion with the what is it, the Min people that are the ethnic majority in Vietnam, and they had solidarity, they had fighting experience. They fought the Japanese in World War II. So Iran is nothing like Vietnam. Iran is a hodgepodge of different ethnicities, different religious backgrounds and everything. These Islamists that are in Iran are actually in the minority. Even most of the people that end up being ayatollahs aren't even Persians, which is the ethnic majority in Iran. I think the last few ayatollahs were actually ethnic Azerbaijani. So this is in no way like Vietnam. Now, to answer your point about about Europe backsliding and not wanting to put in any help. Actually, what President Trump was asking for was more in the way of supporting vessels, right? Like different minesweeping ships, different littoral combat ships. And the reason that he's asking this is because these countries have been basically getting off for free militarily all of these years. They white people like to say that they're the epitome of society, and yet the American taxpayer had to station an 80,000 man plus standing army in your continent to keep you from hacking each other to death, right? But these countries that brag about all of this healthcare and all of this modern infrastructure is because they don't have any military expenditures, and they had to be forced and argue with just to promise slightly to contribute 3%, right? And so the reason that Europe is backsliding is because they're hoping to this will be a hindrance that will affect the president in the midterms and maybe lead to a Democrat being back in power, so it can be business as usual, if anything, right? So, and thank you, No News. Thank you. Thank you. We've been at war for the past 20 years. We have the only fighting force on all the planet who has seen combat. We don't need no damn help. Yeah, the rest of you motherfuckers been practicing. The rest of y'all been practicing. From the global war on terror, it's been more. Matter of fact, it's been more than fucking 20 years. It's been damn near 30. Right? So there's some of the highlights and the lowlights of the first debate regarding Iran. Because we talked about the Pan-Africanism piece too. Now wait a minute. As I go to this, do y'all see this shit? This is wait a minute. Before I continue, let me take this time to point out the familiar pattern of bitch assness with this bitch ass nigga BGS. Right? Do y'all see the bottom of that screen? Y'all see the bottom of that screen? Tell at Machismo TV that BGS was right. You know what this is the equivalent of? This is like when some of these fighters get mad because they lost the decision and then swing on the referee. That's basically what BGS is doing right now. I would have thought he'd have been like, tell Tito I was right. Yep. pure bitch assness, petty like a hoe. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I notice that a lot of motherfuckers, when they respond to me, they refuse to at me. Now, you can only hide behind the, oh, well, you know, he a smaller content creator. I'm not trying to give him no light. You can only hide behind that excuse for so long. No, you niggas handlers at YouTube tell y'all not to tag me and shit. Because think about it, all of them do it. Very seldom do you see somebody responding to me actually tagging me in some shit. They handlers tell them not to. They handlers tell them not to. It should be obvious by now. This nigga's an agent like I've been telling y'all. Corny ass music.
Hurricane Ja, Tooth Triv, what's happening?
Damn,
Experts, nigga. And you're nothing but pedestrians, okay? I've been, I tell you, anybody, especially in my Patreon, man, I told you this shit from day one, okay?
And there you go again, hide like a bitch in your Patreon. Nigga, the debate was public. If you go talk about the debate, talk about it publicly, nigga.
The first day this shit started, okay? First day this shit started. Yeah, rows of them, man. Basically, man, you know, this is gonna get real. In fact, they got fembots out already, man. So y'all get ready. Elon can't build them is because we don't have dark factories. We don't have the materials to build them. So they can't be built here. So that's a fuck up. Elon is actually focusing on, believe it or not, Elon is going to be focused on space right now. That's why I think that's where he's going to put his focus on, because that's where the money's going to be. So if I'm Elon, I'm not trying to build shit here. I'm trying to put everything up into space. Gynoids, yes sir. Anyway, let's get busy, okay? We already have the artificial womb. Okay, the artificial womb's already here. It's just not mass produced yet. It's because the artificial womb has nothing to do with being able to produce it. The thing is, it is a I have to talk to my daughter. It's not that they can't do it. It's more of a moral question than it is a technical question. Play this back a little bit faster. But yeah, I'll show that tomorrow. Okay, yeah, robot holes are right behind them. But I'll show that tomorrow. In fact, they had the dancing humanoid robot.
I told you, bruh. This is an incel. This is an incel channel. This nigga is the Sultan of the incels. This nigga sitting here talking about robot bitches. I already roasted the concept of robot bitches. God damn. Nigga gotta get a robot bitch.
Carol Quigley. He's not that smart.
All those deadly missiles that they could use against the Gulf states, American bases in the region, and against Israel, they had a really strong hand to play. And that, of course, is why they ended up winning the war, so to speak. And that's why they're in such a powerful bargaining position today. But nobody understood that on February 27th, which I think gets at your point.
I did. The thing is that's probably not true, okay? And we're gonna get into that. This is why I disagree with it, man. People did know, okay? People did know, but they allowed them to do it anyway.
Point.
And emphasis on the word nobody. The Iranians didn't understand it.
Yeah, you right. You right, Ruslan. Why robot just jag off? And if that motherfucking robot bitch don't know how to spice a motherfucking chicken, I'm not interested anyway. Shit.
The CIA, Mossad, the White House National Security Council somehow didn't even consider that the
Sigma, I got 2 words for you, and this is VHS talking, okay? 2 words for you, and 1 word that I make too. It's called bullshit, okay? Bullshit, okay?
Iranians might control the Strait of Hormuz and use it as a...
Do y'all see some of the idiotic comments in this chat? Oh, the U.S. lost half its arsenal on the war. Oh. Let me tell you, motherfuckers with that dumbass baby boomer Franklin Mint collectible mentality something. Okay? I wouldn't give a fuck if we shot so much shit at them motherfuckers that we was goddamn it making slingshots after that. If it stopped proliferation, fine then, motherfucker. Fine. It's like y'all are delusional as to what the fuck is at stake here. What the fuck does it matter? You wanna that if somebody was breaking in your motherfucking house, would you just let them take some of your shit in order to, I bought a 10mm because they said it would be a collectible and these shells are expensive. That's basically the argument some of these niggas are making. Wouldn't give a fuck how much of the arsenal that they use.
A means to get the Americans to back and the Israelis to back down. They didn't even think of this.
Well, there's 2 points to be made here. One is you want to remember that we had the 12-day war last June. This is June 2025, where the Israelis and the Americans attacked Iran. And although the Israelis were very anxious to settle that war after 12 days.
Yeah, they already called no mas, okay? And Trump had to go to Qatar and bargain for that no mas. And then they made a deal to trade blows. They basically hit a tunnel or hit a mountain with no centrifuges and no material because Iran had moved all that shit, and then Iran hit one of the U.S. bases. Okay, as like a tit for tat trade, like we're even. Okay, I knew that was bullshit at the time.
As were we. It looked like the Iranians were not the winners in that war. And that was the situation on February 27th. I think people at that point were thinking about what had happened in the 12-day war, and they expected something similar to happen in the present conflict. And of course, it looked like that on the first day or two, but as the war evolved, it became clear that that wasn't the case. And once the Iranians unleashed the dogs,
yes,
really engaged in the war.
Yeah, in other words, what they unleashed in a 12-day war, they tripled it. Okay. And they said the same shit that they said about the Russians. Okay, Iran's gonna run out of all their missiles within about 3 weeks or to a month. Okay, they're still fighting. They're still going at it.
And it began to evolve over the course of March and April. It became manifestly clear that by controlling the strait and by also having all those deadly missiles that they could use against the Gulf states, American bases in the region, and against Israel, they had a really strong hand to play. And that, of course, is why they ended up winning the war, so to speak. And that's why they're in such a powerful bargaining position today. But
in other words, Mearsheimer is saying that they won the war. He's not the only one.
Nobody understood that on February 27th, which I think gets at your point.
And emphasis on the word nobody. The Iranians didn't understand it. The CIA, Mossad, the White House National Security Council somehow didn't even consider that the Iranians might control the Strait of Hormuz and use it as a means to get the Americans to back and the Israelis to back down.
Yes, they did, because Hillary Clinton said the exact same shit about a week ago.
This nigga is going over damn near ancient history. Wow. the fucking condition of the planet's atmosphere hangs in the balance. This is y'all master teacher.
It's how come they didn't do it?
As you and I have talked about on numerous occasions, this was a cockamamie theory of victory. The idea that air power alone was going to win a quick and decisive victory was just not in the cards.
Right.
But they didn't think that. President Trump thought that we would knock the Iranians out of the war very quickly and we wouldn't have to worry about the Strait.
Right, right. Is, in your view, is the memorandum...
The Navy is at the bottom of the ocean. The only thing that they can do to feel like that they've closed the Strait is fire random drones. And ships.
Of understanding for real is the Trump-Vance versus Netanyahu public adversity spat for real? Or is all of this just some sort of a pause until after the midterms?
Oh, I think this is for real. I mean, Trump has made it clear that he believes we are facing, and I'm quoting him, an economic catastrophe if we don't shut this war down. And of course, he's correct, as Larry Johnson and others have told you on the show. Right, this war has to be shut down for economic reasons, and Vance understands.
I remember I was telling you they had to come to a close by June. In fact, the resolution for the War Powers Act in the Senate and Congress is passed. Okay, so they were going, the Congress was going to shut him down anyway, which is something I also told you back about. Oh God, was it back in May? Actually, back in March, okay. We were talking about that.
That as well. He is the point man, and he's going to great lengths to shut it down in the negotiations that are now taking place in Switzerland. We have a profound interest in hoping that that Trump and Vance are successful. As you know, we have criticized Trump and Vance endlessly on the show, as have others on the show, for initiating and waging this foolish war. But at this point in time, we all have a deep-seated interest. One could say we have a profound interest in hoping that Trump and Vance are able to put an end to the war. And I think if you watch what Vance is doing, he is, I think, focusing laser-like on just trying to get some sort of agreement.
Yeah, he's focusing laser-like because he's trying to save his 2028 campaign hopes. Okay, he can't. He's got a
No, dumb motherfucker. It should be obvious what Vance is doing. But this is y'all master teacher. Vance and Trump's other advisors are seeking a brief respite from the war for a few months into after the midterms. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. It should be fucking obvious. It should be obvious that this is basically a temporary ceasefire with the illusion of negotiating for an agreement so they can resume bombing the fuck out of them the Wednesday after the election day. If you don't know that, then you really don't understand fucking reality, BGS. It should be obvious what JD Vance is doing. None of this is about 2028. This is about later on this year. Nigga dumb.
bail out this ship so it can actually limp on home. Okay, if he doesn't, guess what's going to be around his neck in 2028?
Limp on home. Can somebody please tell me which ship was damaged in direct combat with the Iranian Navy? Can any of y'all tell me that? Which U.S. Navy ship was damaged in direct combat with the Iranian Navy or was damaged by a drone? Somebody please tell me. Can't come up with a name, huh?
So he's fighting for his political life right now.
That satisfies the Iranians so that we can put an end to this before we go off the cliff.
Chris, can you post the Trey Yingst full screen? I mean, during the first day of negotiations, the president of the United States.
Go off the cliff or what? Go off the cliff or what?
I'm looking for the Yingst full screen, Chris. The president of the United States said this: you close it, meaning Hormuz, and you won't have a country. And then he says to the negotiators, you won't even make it back to your blanking country. And then they leave the room. What kind of a way is this to negotiate?
That's Trump.
It's remarkably foolish. I mean,
that's what I told you. Trump is the Joker, right? I told y'all.
It's remarkably foolish. Do y'all really think that Trump can't make good on that threat? Do y'all really think that he can't make good on that threat? Do y'all understand how many of the leadership of this country of Iran is in exile somewhere else? Like, again, it's like this nigga lives in a whole different fucking bubble of reality. Machismo writes, direct answer, open sources reporting indicates U.S. forces have not publicly confirmed losing any major naval ships during the Iran conflict. Yeah, so what does he mean, limp home? What the fuck does that mean? Tell you, these niggas, they showing y'all that they agents. I hope y'all paying attention to this shit.
Trump is the Joker. Yeah, it will 39 trillion in debt and county. It's probably higher than that, but because we haven't even accounted for this war yet.
We all know that. I mean, it's just irresponsible to be making those sorts of comments and to be using that kind of language. Enough is enough. But the fact is that we've reached a point with President Trump where we expect this. And I think it's like water rolling off a duck's back at this point in time. I don't think the Iranians take this rhetoric that seriously. I think they roll their eyes and say, here we go again.
Yeah.
The Russians do the same.
Do they trust him? Do the Iranians trust Trump? I mean,
okay. You said Lindsey Graham. I'm glad you mentioned him. Okay. I'm glad you mentioned Lindsey Graham. Hold on. Okay. Hold the fort. Okay. I'm glad he mentioned Lindsey Graham. No, he did not mention Lindsey Graham. Hold the fuck on. Hold up. I said, hold up, right?
Let's try this.
Yeah, did he just mention Lindsey Graham? Lindsey Graham not giving up? Hold up. Okay, sir. All right, smart ass. Let's try this.
Good morning to you, Senator.
Good morning. Good morning.
There's a lot.
Who is that? Who is that? Do you recognize that face? You recognize that face, sir? You recognize that face? So listen to the words that's coming out of his mouth.
Still hasn't been figured out here in this deal. But you wrote 9 days ago the idea of a U.S. plan with partners to create a fund of at least $300 billion. This is point 6 in the memorandum, is tone deaf, and it's akin to a Marshall Plan for Germany with the Nazis still in charge. Why did you change your position and now you support it?
Because before I thought the money was coming from the West. If the West funds Iran, I think that would be a Marshall Plan with a
he backsliding now. Okay.
Nazis still in charge for Germany. If the plan envisions the Sunni Arabs, if the Sunni Arabs do it, can you imagine if Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates invest $300 billion in Iran? That would tell me that Iran has changed. To all the experts out there, do you think Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates are going to invest in Iran with a theocracy bent on destroying Sunni Islam? So think it through. If the money comes from the Sunni Arab world, I hope it happens. It would mean that the Sunni Arabs believe that Iran has changed to the point they want to be a business partner. I pray that happens. I doubt if it will.
You doubt if it will. Well, I want to ask you about some of the criticism of the agreement from your fellow Republican colleagues. Take a listen.
If we give billions of dollars to Iran, that money will be used to murder Americans. And so I don't believe we should do that.
They'll use the money that is being released to rebuild their ballistic missile arsenal and begin to enrich again. And that's going to be a continuing danger.
That money, Brooke, we know is not going to go to build new hospitals or daycares. It's going to go to replenish their drone stockpiles, their missiles, to support terrorists like Hezbollah and Hamas.
We have 13 Americans dead. We spent anywhere from $25 to $100 billion in munitions, and it turns out we've lost a credible threat attacking them again. So there's a lot of stuff in there. It's bad.
All of those Republicans are seriously doubting the president here, Senator Graham. Do you agree with their concerns?
No, I don't.
No.
We're not giving any money to Iran that can change the course of history to try diplomacy. Is the MOU problematic? Yeah. I'd rather try to.
Yeah, the memorandum of understanding, the funds that they will be getting is nowhere near what you would need to try to rebuild a nuclear arsenal. I don't know why that's so hard for BGS to figure out either. See, what agents like BGS want to do is they want to harp over a whole bunch of little bitty things, and they want to let the perfect be the enemy of the good. That money that's in this memorandum of understanding is just so they can be able to fucking pay their troops. You know they haven't paid their troops in months, right? Just so they can be able to pay their own troops again and pay for really basic shit in their country. They don't have enough money to restart trying to make a nuclear arsenal.
Diplomacy, then take it off the table. The money Iran gets, it's not going
to. What say you? What say you, Lindsey Graham? I'm glad somebody mentioned him. Lindsey Graham was not going to give up. Okay.
To change the future of Iran. It's not enough to reconstruct the country. If you don't have a diplomatic path through the MOU, then you have to go to war or some other form of coercion. Let's try this. Let's try a diplomatic solution. I think it's going to fail. What happens next? I spent 4.5 hours with President Trump Friday. Here's what I think will happen next. If this deal fails, President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz over by force. The United States will control the Strait of Hormuz. We'll charge a fee for all those who go through to pay for the operation. And we're going to expand the Abraham Accords in calendar year 2026. We're going to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords, and which is the biggest change in 5,000 years in the Mideast. And if Iran contests control of the Strait of Hormuz by the United States, we will obliterate them. So to all the people listening, if this diplomatic effort fails,
he got to show a brave face. You know this is some bullshit.
President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to run it. We're going to try to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords to end the Arab-Israeli conflict in 2026. And if Iran continues to attack Israel and Lebanon, the new policy will be we'll hit Iran. So to the Iranians, if you're listening, when you use Hezbollah to attack Israel, I think the new policy will be we will attack Iran.
You're already attacking Iran. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You already attacked Iran, okay? See how that worked out.
How you could turn what you think is a flawed document into an opportunity. But you're also suggesting there that you can get Benjamin Netanyahu or whoever is the next prime minister of Israel to recognize a Palestinian state, which is the price of normalization with Saudi Arabia.
No.
How could you do that on the brink of an election?
Well, for about 2 years, Margaret, in case you missed this, I went to Riyadh and Jerusalem working on normalization with President Biden.
Yes.
We're going to announce a framework to have Saudi join the Abraham Accords and at the end of October in 2023. Iran attacked on October the 7th. That created a...
Well, they're going to stack the deck with. They don't have the materials to build no more bombs, man. Most of those materials are in China. Materials and stuff like that to actually build these bombs and weapons are in China. You don't even have the materials to build any more weapons like that, okay? Not the scale that you're going to need them.
Real problem. The Arab world is very upset about Gaza, and everybody in Israel is very upset about October 7th. But we're going to pick up where we left off. And Donald Trump is going to empower me and others to jumpstart an effort to get Saudi to join Israel. There will be accommodations made by Saudi and Israel to Saudi and Israel. You have no better friend than Donald Trump. To Bibi, Donald Trump stood by you when other people would.
I think this Money Night Show trucker is just the assets that they have froze from them already. I don't think it's nothing that we paying for as taxpayers. I think this is just, and it's not even the complete amount of assets that they have frozen, the funds that they will be releasing to them. They talking about 330 million, I think. They seized billions from their ass.
I'm not asking you to do anything to jeopardize the future of Israel's security, but I am asking you to be open to expanding the Abraham Accords and finding a solution to the Palestinians that are good for.
Now all of a sudden they doing the electric slide. They're doing the moonwalk. Okay, he's doing his best impression of Michael Jackson right about now.
Israel, and quite frankly, good for the world. To
go ahead and say it.
Saudi Arabia. Now's the time to open negotiations yet again for you to expand the Abraham Accords, for you to join. I think this is going to happen in 2026, and it can't happen until Iran's in a box. If we get a deal, Iran will be in a box. If we don't get a deal, Iran will be in a box. To Lebanon, to the people in Lebanon, help is on the way. Hezbollah's been terrorizing your country for a long time. That's about to end.
Senator.
Oh my. Okay. Oh my. Okay. Yeah, but you try and walk it back, even though you don't like this deal. You said you don't like the deal 9 days ago. Now you're trying to play brave. Okay, all right, boss. Abraham Accords, yeah, something like that. Anyway, glad you mentioned him. Okay, he's on board. He's on board with the MOU. Okay, said he didn't like it. All right. All righty. Okay. So let's dive in. Like I said, we got 20 more minutes left. Let's dive into some more. Okay. Let's see what else we got in the bag of tricks. Okay. Here we go. Let's try this. Is this one? Yeah. Might be this one. I think. Is that the one I'm looking for? Yeah, it's the one I'm looking for. Yep. He's the one I'm looking for. All right. Share screen. This is MS Now. This is all the stuff I'm showing you right now.
And this nigga is using MS Now. This is crazy. When you talking about ideological bias, it don't get no worse than this.
Now is mainstream TV, okay? I started off with the alternative press, which is Mearsheimer and Napolitano. Now we're showing you mainstream TV right now, okay?
Joining me now, we have Washington Congressman Adam Smith. He is the ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee and a friend to us. Good to see you, Congressman.
Congressman Adam Smith, right? He's Democrat, but thing is, he getting ready to rip Trump a new one.
So we have Iran saying that they've closed the Strait of Hormuz again. However, we have the reports that it's actually radio messages they're sending, maybe not follow up with any action on those radio messages to ships saying it's closed. It does not expect much, though, to be accomplished in Switzerland until the fighting in Lebanon ends. And therein brings my question, because there are reports U.S. intelligence believes Israel will continue to attack Hezbollah in Lebanon. So how, sir, does this complicate efforts to end the war? Does the continued fighting there expose a serious gap between what the administration says it's negotiated and what it can actually enforce?
Yeah, no, it complicates it significantly.
And watch it. Now, you can tell he's an APAC by what he's getting ready to say, okay?
I do want to be clear here. All the reports are Israel continues to attack Lebanon. Israel has honored the ceasefire.
No, they have not.
Attacked them.
No, they have not. Okay, they're supposed to pull all the troops out of southern Lebanon. No, they have not. But he's not going to say that. It's because he's APAC. Okay.
Over the last week or so, there's been a series of ceasefires, and Hezbollah inevitably launches missiles or drones. They killed 4 Israeli soldiers a couple days ago, and then Israel responds. Now, we can argue that Israel shouldn't have such a hair trigger in response, but it's Hezbollah who's breaking the ceasefire right now. So if Iran wants Lebanon to be part of it, then they need to make sure that Hezbollah stops fighting. But yes, that is a significant impediment. As long as those
who's a hypocrite? Yeah, he is. Well, he's a Democrat. It's an election year. What do you expect him to say?
Ceasefires, and these ceasefires last like an hour or two. They don't last any amount of time at all. Got to get to a ceasefire in Lebanon before the talks over the Strait of Hormuz and the other issues can proceed.
So it seems like the only concessions in the MOU are Iran's promise not to pursue a nuclear weapon and to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, essentially getting back to the pre-war status quo. But Iran gets sanctions relief and a massive $300 billion reconstruction fund with an agreement on its nuclear program that's to be worked out over the next 60 days.
Now a month ago, the $300 billion, everybody was laughing at it, okay? They said it's not going to happen, okay? They're not going to get reparations. They're not going to get sanctions relief, blah, 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 blah. Now, all of a sudden, they get all that shit, okay? All that shit.
Oh, it's $300 billion, okay.
And guess what's still not.
But again, isn't this the assets that they a little bit less than the assets that they seized from in the first place worldwide? I think even some of the Swiss turned over some of their accounts and shit that they had.
On the table. The nuclear enrichment still not on the table.
During these talks. But given the leverage Iran has exerted over the U.S., is the MOU, sir, the best place to start negotiating a permanent end to the war? Are there any alternatives?
Well, two things.
Well, Master OC, I said they would break it. There's a reason they will break it. I said that the other day, okay, is because Israel needs water security, okay? The biggest source.
You know why the enrichment is not on the table? Because they want an excuse to bomb them again. They want an excuse to bomb them again. And I don't see how the fuck that you can't see that. But in closing, I will see that. And I heard that this morning. They bombing them again anyway. Just like Trump told them. But in closing, I'll ask you again. Is it more important to you to pick over these tiny, infinitesimal little ideological points? Is it more important to you to be part of the woke right and be angry at Israel? Is that more important than not breathing in radioactive dust? And that was my whole point in talking about the debate. That was my whole point in talking about Iran. That was my whole point in supporting the war. It was just that fucking important when it comes down to the air we breathe and the trees that we walk under every fucking day. And keeping this planet from being further irradiated. Remember, we've had ever since 1945, we had over 500 separate above ground nuclear explosions and untold thousands of undergrounds, to the point where there have been radioactive isotopes of elements found in meat, cheese, milk. Most of the iron we use every day exudes a certain amount of background radiation, which is why for your surgical instruments, your scalpels and everything, those are actually recycled ships. So even the sailors that have died in past wars are not allowed a final resting place, because we have to go and despoil the site of their immortal slumber after falling in combat, to rip the very sinew and the steel in which they rest off of the bottom of the ocean, to be able to recycle it to use as medical instruments. So even in death, these naval officers and enlisted men still make sacrifices. Sacrifices to our avarice, our hubris, and our combativeness against one another, and man's inability to bend finally swords into plowshares. But even though that much is at stake, BGS is more concerned with being an ideologue. BGS is more concerned with ripping down the very republic that your ancestors fought for. Many of your ancestors fought in World War I, World War II, the Civil War. Over 50,000 men, 50,000 black men died in the Civil War to give us the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. And BGS is willing to throw all of that away for his foolhardy vision of a communist workers' paradise. But this is who you call your master teacher. It's been a Black Pill PSA. Peace.